What's up, everybody? Hope you're having a great day. I wanted to make a quick video about renting versus flipping. A lot of people who are getting started in real estate have this question like, well, should I flip properties or should I just rent them out for monthly cash flow? And really, it's all up to you. But today we're going to dive into the pros and cons of each and break down what's going to happen if you take part in flipping, what's going to happen if you take part in renting. Let's get this video started and we're going to explain the pros and cons of each. Well, I want to go into a quick overview about rentals versus flipping. There's going to be a lot of people that are like, well, Michael, you forgot about this or you forgot about that. Listen, this is a brief overview basically to help you get on your track to finding out whether you should be renting houses or flipping houses or both. So I'm going to be talking about the pros and cons, and I'm going to jump right into it because there's a lot of information and I want you guys to be able to learn in a fast video. So real quick, the pros of rentals. Okay, so I'm going to do the pros and cons, like I said, of both, and I'm going to start out with rentals. Rentals are good for cash flow. So if you buy a rental right, you put a tenant in there. So a tenant is just a person that's living there. They can be good for cash flow. You can make $200-300 a month or more if you buy the property right and if the property is in the decent condition. So they're good for cash flow. They're good for long-term wealth. And I say long-term wealth because you can have that rental for years to come and you can have that cash flow for years. Okay. Now there's different varying things that come into this. But whenever I say long-term wealth, I just mean for you have that asset for years to come. Plus, you can pass on that asset for years to come. You can pass this house that's renting out or these apartments that are renting out to your family, to your kids, your grandkids, your wife, whatever you wanted to do with it. So rentals are good that, they're going to last a while. They're good for tax advantages. Now, I'm not an accountant, but you can talk to your accountant and they'll tell you why holding a property can be good for your taxes. They'll go into all that, so I don't have to explain that, but that's just a general overview. And rentals are good for uncertain markets. We're moving in a time where the coronavirus is taking over our world, as you guys know, and the market's kind of uncertain. I've seen some of my friends that are flipping properties and renting properties down in Texas, and he's just like, man, the market's so uncertain here. People that were coming out and looking at properties every day, and now they're just kind of canceling all their appointments and everything. So you never know what the market's going to do, but one thing I do know is people always need a place to live. So yeah, they may not be buying properties and putting up $10,000, $20,000 to buy a fix and flip house, but people will need to rent. If you think about it, whenever the market goes south, whenever people lose jobs, what do they need? They need rentals. They need to live somewhere in a rental house. So if you have a rental, that's a good thing because they're always going to need a place to stay. So that's a little bit about the pros. There are a few more I don't have listed, but those are the basic ones. The pros of fix and flips is it's good for building up capital. So if you don't have, $50,000, $100,000 to put into an apartment complex, fix and flipping could be how you get your next rental portfolio. So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm building up my capital through flipping and through wholesaling so I can buy those appreciating assets. And that's another good thing about rentals. Most time they appreciate long term. So a house that you bought at, let's say $50,000 this year, here in about 10 or 20 years, it may be worth double what you bought it for. So not only do you get cash flow off your rental, but you get appreciation. Anyway, fix and flips are good for building up capital. They're good for building up your rental portfolio, like I said. And they're also good for building your knowledge in real estate investing. Whenever I first got started in real estate, I had no clue anything about real estate. I started flipping and I started learning about the foundation of houses, their roof, windows, pretty much just everything about properties that I never knew before. And so, yeah, you can buy a rental and you can get to know the property that way. But if you just go buy a house and never have to fix it up, you're not going to know when the roof needs changed. What happens if the foundation has a crack in it? You're not going to know all those things. And for me, when I jumped in, I got into fix and flipping and I was able to learn all about that stuff. So whenever I buy rentals, I know exactly what I need to watch out for. So that's the pros of both of those. But now let's get to the cons. The rentals have different cons to them, dealing with tenants and dealing with vacancies. Those can all be alleviated with a property management company. A property management company basically just runs your rentals for you for a small fee, usually around 10% of your rental charge. So if you're charging $600 a month for your rental for somebody to live there, then they're going to probably charge about $60 a month to manage your rentals. Um, Now that can vary by neighborhood, by location. So talk to your local property management company if there is one in your area. But if you don't have a property management company in your location, then just consider, hey, I'm gonna have to deal with tenants. I'm gonna have to deal with finding new people when they go vacant. When I say dealing with tenants, that means you have to take applications, make sure they get moved in, make sure they pay on time, because a lot of times they don't pay on time. They're gonna, if you don't screen right, they're gonna trash your property, and you don't want that. You want the best tenants in there possible. So those are some things you have to worry about. Sometimes whenever I first started, I didn't know all the things I do now, and my brain just laying in bed at night was constantly going because I had this anxiety of, are the tenants going to ruin my property? All these different things, but now I know what I do know, and now I'm not as stressed. So another con of rentals is money tied up in one investment. A lot of people think, well, if I buy a rental, I have 10, 15, $20,000. It's just going to be sitting there, and I can't get that back. Well, there are ways you can get that back. I'm not going to go into depth about all that, but you could get that back through a home equity line of credit. If you bought the property right and you have some equity in the property, you can refinance the property and get your money out that way. So your tenant pays the rest of the mortgage. There's different ways that you can do this, but just know that you may have your money tied up in one investment if things go wrong. So that's the cons of that. There's many more, like I said, but these are just an overview. The cons of fix and flipping is capital gains tax. Every time you flip a property, you have to pay the government, I can't remember what it is, like 25 or 30%. Talk to your accountant because they'll know the numbers, but you have to pay like 30% of your profit to the government. To me, that sounds crazy, and it is a little crazy, but that's just how this world is, and you have to make sure you budget for that. So, just be prepared. So that's one con of it, but your accountant will be able to tell you, hey, if you take that money and invest it into another asset or another property, you don't have to pay that. So talk to your accountant about that. Another con about it is relying on the market. So like I said, we're in an uncertain market here. So if you're fixing flipping and need to sell it and the market goes south and nobody's buying properties, you're relying on that market, and you're at the what do they call it, the grips of that market. So that's another con of it. Like, that's why we stress buying right. You have to do the work or manage the work. So a lot of people say, oh, just fix and flipping, I see it on TV, it's going to be a breeze, it's going to be quick, I won't have to do that much work. But no, either you're going to have to do the work yourself, or you're going to have to find somebody that wants to do the work, and you have to manage them, and you have to have the stress of, is this going to get done on time, and am I going to be on budget? What happens if you tear down a wall and you run into some stuff that you didn't expect that wasn't in the budget? There's all those little things you have to be prepared for. But this all boils down to yourself. It's all up to you. No one knows you better than yourself, and you need to know, hey, which one is better for me and my situation? Which one's better for my personality? Somebody that cannot manage people and cannot handle the stresses of rentals, if you don't have a property management, maybe that's not for you. Maybe you'd be better for flipping properties or things of that nature. It's just all up to you. You needed to decide. And what's your long-term goal? So, 20, 30 years down the road, what do you want that to look like? Do you want to have assets that are bringing you cash flow every month? So if you get sick, or your wife gets sick, or maybe like your wife is pregnant, she's having a baby, and you guys need to take off work, do you want to have that cash flow coming in every month so you don't have to work and you can just have that appreciating asset? So it's all up to you, and it depends on if you buy the property right. Now, I'm just going to end with this. If you buy the property at the right price, the opportunities are endless. You can buy a property so cheap, and you can either rent it out, you can fix and flip it, or you can wholesale it. There's different opportunities when you buy right. And for me, my first property, I didn't buy the property right. I bought it too expensive. And because I bought it too expensive, I lost a lot of money. I couldn't rent it out. I couldn't flip it. I did, but I lost some money because I had to lower the price. and I bought it too expensive. So when you buy right, I don't want to scare you, but whenever you get the right price, you can wholesale it to another investor and make $5, $10, $15,000 or more. You can rent it out and make $200, $300, $400, $500 or more, or you can flip it and make $30,000 or more. So it's just all up to you. What's your long-term goal? I'm going to leave you with that. Buy right and just consider what's your long-term value. There's going to be people leaving comments below. They're going to be like, well, I think this, I think that. Listen, take their opinions and run with them. When I say run with them, take what is true, what is right, and use that knowledge to your advantage. If you like this video, please click like below, subscribe to my channel. I'm going to be making a lot more videos like this, so I hope they help you in your real estate investing journey. I'm just sharing everything I've done, all my failures, all my lessons I've learned, and I want to share them with you guys so you don't have to go through the pain that I learned when I lost $15,000 on my first flip. So with that being said, guys, God bless, subscribe below, and we'll talk to you later.
But more importantly, everybody who believed in me, who seen in me, something I couldn't even see in myself.
Some people beg, some people borrow.